The text that stops time. You're scrolling Instagram at 9:42 PM. You've just liked a cat video, ignored an ad for a weighted hula hoop, and were this close to replying to that friend's Instagram story about oat milk. Spoiler, it's always oat milk. Then your phone buzzes with a text. Just 3 words. I'm not okay. Time freezes. You stare at it. You reread it. Your brain short circuits. You suddenly forget every emotion word ever known. You consider replying with a thumbs up emoji, then immediately regret even thinking that. Here's the thing. Most of us aren't taught what to do when someone's in pain. If someone breaks their arm, we don't say, "You're probably overthinking it." We don't go, "Have you tried yoga?" No, we get them to the hospital. But when it comes to emotional pain, we panic. We get awkward, we say weird things, or worse, we say nothing at all. That's where mental first aid comes in. It's the thing we all wish we knew when someone opens up to us. It's not about being a therapist, it's about being a human, a decent one. The kind who stays, the kind who listens, the kind who doesn't respond to trauma with lol. So in this video, we're diving into how to be there for your friends when they drop the mask and say, "I'm not okay." We'll explore how to respond, what not to say, and how to not accidentally make it worse. This is a crash course in being a better friend. A slightly funny, very real guide to holding space for someone without falling apart yourself. Let's begin. What is mental first aid? Mental first aid is like emotional CPR, but with fewer chest compressions and way more snacks. It's what you do in the moment someone is struggling. Before the professionals get involved, before the Instagram quotes start rolling in, before the healing journey begins. It's not fixing, it's supporting. Mental first aid is about 3 core things. 1. Noticing when someone's not okay. 2. Listening without judgment. And 3. Encouraging them toward further help, if needed. Think of it like this. If your friend twisted their ankle, you wouldn't tell them to stop being dramatic. You'd probably help them off the ground, maybe give them some ice, and then suggest seeing a doctor. The same rules apply here. The only problem is, emotional sprains are invisible. There's no bruise to point at, which means a lot of people keep limping along in silence. And when they finally do speak, they're met with things like, "You're just tired," "Try going outside more," "Have you tried not being sad?" We mean well, but often our first instinct is to dismiss and not support. Mental first aid flips that instinct on its head. It teaches us to stay, to listen, to not freak out when someone admits they're not okay. And yes, it's awkward sometimes, but awkwardness has never killed anyone, unlike ignoring mental health, which absolutely has. So if you're scared to say something wrong, that's good. It means you care, and that's the best place to start. The power of presence. Here's the wild thing. Your presence is powerful, even when you feel completely useless. We're wired to want to do something when someone's upset. We want to solve, fix, or rescue. But in reality, just showing up, fully undistracted, is often the most powerful move you can make. Let's say your friend's crying on the couch. You don't need a TED Talk. You don't need a 17-step self-care plan from Pinterest. You just need to be there. Turn off your phone, sit beside them, say things like, "I'm here, you're safe, you don't have to explain everything right now." That's it. That's the magic. Think back to your worst days, the moments you felt like a glitch in the universe. You probably don't remember exactly what people said to you, but you remember who stayed, who sat with you in the mess, who didn't rush to make it tidy. That's presence. It's not flashy, it's not complicated, but it sticks. In an age where we're constantly multitasking, where everyone's just so busy, giving someone your full attention is like handing them a weighted blanket for their soul. So if you're thinking, "I don't know what to say," remember, your quiet, calm company might be louder than any words. Don't try to fix, just listen. Let's address the inner helper in all of us, the one that desperately wants to turn your friend's panic attack into a productivity checklist. Don't. When someone tells you they're not okay, your job isn't to solve their feelings like a puzzle. It's to honour them, sit with them, let them be. Imagine your friend says, "I'm just really anxious today." You respond with, "You should meditate." Cool, thanks. Let me just breathe my trauma away in a lavender-scented fog. Here's what to say instead. "That sounds really hard. Do you want to talk about it? I'm really glad you told me." When you resist the urge to fix, you create space for their truth to exist. Listening without jumping in shows trust. It tells them, "I believe you. You're allowed to feel this." And if your brain is screaming, "But I want to help," remember, listening is helping. Deep, genuine listening might be the most underused superpower of all time. Let them cry, let them ramble, let them talk in spirals for a while. You're not a Google Doc with tracked changes, you're a friend, and sometimes that's exactly what they need. Words that validate, not minimize. Let's talk about words. They're tiny little things that can either build a bridge or burn it down. When someone says they're struggling, avoid the urge to say, "At least it's not worse, it could be worse, everything happens for a reason." No, do not pass go, do not collect $200. These kinds of phrases, while well-meaning, often minimize someone's pain. They shift the focus away from what the person is feeling and toward what you think they should feel. Instead, validate. Try. That's totally understandable. Anyone would feel that way in your shoes. That sounds incredibly painful. Validation is powerful. It tells someone you're not broken for feeling this way. And if you're ever unsure what to say, repeat back what they've said in your own words. Them, "I feel like nothing matters anymore." You, "It sounds like everything feels really heavy right now." That's not fixing, that's witnessing. That's language as support, not correction. And remember, sometimes the best thing to say is, "I don't know what to say, but I'm here." It's not about having the perfect script, it's about being real. Ask open, gentle questions. So, how do you actually talk to someone who's not okay? Gently, slowly. Like you're tiptoeing through a room full of emotional Lego blocks. Avoid yes-no questions like, "Are you okay now? Do you want to feel better?" Or, "Have you gotten over it?" Instead, ask open-ended ones. Do you want to talk about it? What does it feel like today? And what would make today even 5% better? And here's the golden tip. It's okay if they don't want to talk. Sometimes people just want to be with someone, not interviewed by them. You can say, "That's okay if you're not ready. I'm here when you are. We don't have to talk about it. Want to watch something stupid together?" That kind of softness can make a person feel safe, seen, less like a problem, more like a person. Don't interrogate, don't push, but invite, and always let them set the pace. Because sometimes healing starts with one kind question and a shared bag of chips. Safety first, knowing the warning signs. Let's get serious for a second. Sometimes "I'm not okay" means I had a rough day. Other times it means I don't want to be alive. And you might not know which one it is. That's why it's so important to recognize the red flags that someone might be in serious danger. Here are some signs to pay attention to. Talking about feeling hopeless or like a burden, withdrawing from everyone, suddenly giving away personal items, and saying things like, "You won't have to worry about me much longer." If any of these come up, or if something feels off in your gut, don't ignore it. This is when you act. This is when mental first aid becomes life-saving. You can ask directly, "Yes, really. Are you thinking about hurting yourself, or are you having thoughts of suicide?" It might feel terrifying to ask, but research shows it doesn't plant the idea, it opens a door. And if the answer is yes, stay calm. Don't panic. You're not alone in this either. Call a crisis line. Reach out to a mental health professional. Get another trusted adult involved. Let your friend know you're here and that you're taking it seriously. We're not trained professionals, but we are first responders of the heart. Be the friend who pays attention, who listens to tone, not just words, who notices when someone hasn't laughed in a week. Because sometimes saving a life doesn't look like CPR, it looks like staying on the phone until the sun comes up. Support doesn't end after one conversation. We love the idea of big talk that solves everything. One tear-filled convo, some hugs, maybe a sunset, and roll credits. Real life is messier. If your friend says they're not okay, chances are they won't magically be okay by next Tuesday. And that's pretty normal. That's called being human. Support isn't a one-time event. It's check-ins. It's thinking of you texts. It's sharing a meme at 2 a.m. just to say, you still matter to me. You don't have to hover. You just have to stay in orbit. Small gestures matter. Want to grab a coffee this week? How's your brain doing today? Here's a dumb dog video. Even if they don't always reply, they're noticing. They're holding on to it. They're feeling less alone. And if you ever worry about being annoying, here's the truth. Someone who feels broken will never find kindness annoying. Consistency over intensity. You don't need to fix them, but don't fade away either. Be the gentle nudge that says, I still see you, even when you're quiet, even when you're struggling. Share the load. You're not a therapist. Quick reminder, you are not a 24/7 emotional ambulance. Yes, be there. Yes, check in. But also, you're allowed to have limits. Sometimes helping a friend can feel like holding up a collapsing ceiling with your bare hands. And if you're not careful, you'll get crushed too. Here's what people forget. Being there for someone doesn't mean abandoning yourself. It's okay to say, I want to support you, but I'm feeling really overwhelmed. Can we find someone else to talk together? Have you thought about seeing a counsellor? I'd be happy to help you find one. This isn't selfish, it's sustainable. Support is like oxygen masks on a plane. You have to secure your own first, or you'll pass out trying to help. There's a difference between being present and being someone's lifeline. Mental first aid is about connecting, not carrying. If you're constantly absorbing your friend's pain without refilling your own cup, you're going to run dry fast. Check your own energy levels, set boundaries, take breaks, and let others support. Family professionals, hotlines, do their part. You're a friend, not a miracle worker. Learn the language of support. Let's build your emotional vocabulary. And no, I don't mean reading a thesaurus in the dark with tears in your eyes. I mean learning simple, powerful human phrases you can keep in your back pocket. Try, thank you for telling me, that sounds incredibly tough, or I can't imagine what that feels like, but I'm here. Avoid the classics. You're overthinking. We know, we all are. Just don't think about it. Genius. Why didn't I think of that? Try smiling more. My fist is smiling right now. And here's the cheat code. Ask before advise. Say, do you want some advice or just someone to listen? Or would you like help figuring out the next steps, or do you want to vent? Asking puts them in control. It turns a lecture into a collaboration, and it makes you the kind of friend people actually want to talk to. Supportive language isn't flowery, it's intentional. And the more you use it, the more fluent you become in emotional safety. It's like learning a dialect of care, and your friends, they'll feel the difference. Encouraging a culture of openness. Let's zoom out. What if we all knew how to respond to I'm not okay without flinching, without getting weird, without ghosting someone until they're less emotional? We'd be living in a world that treats mental health like health, normal, valid, worth caring about. That's the world we need to build. A culture where crying isn't shameful, where therapy isn't taboo, and where checking in is as normal as asking, want anything from the shops. This starts with us. Be honest about your own struggles and say things like, I've had a hard week too. I get anxious sometimes, want to talk about it. I'm seeing a therapist and it's been so helpful. When you speak up, you give other people permission to do the same. Vulnerability is contagious, in the best way. Let's stop pretending that everything's fine when it's clearly not. Let's stop rewarding burnout and emotional numbness like they're trophies. And most of all, let's stop acting like asking for help is weak. It's strength, and it takes guts. So build a culture of real, one where your friends can say, I'm not okay, and know they won't be met with silence, or worse, inspirational quotes about climbing mountains. The most important thing to say. Let's circle back to the message, I'm not okay. You don't need a psychology degree. You don't need a script. You don't need to channel Oprah. You just need to respond like a human being. You can say, I'm so glad you told me. You don't have to go through this alone. Or, I'm here. That's it. No magic words, just presence, kindness, willingness to sit in the mess without flinching. And hey, If you do panic and say something awkward, that's okay. You're trying. That matters more than getting it perfect. We're all winging it down here. The goal of mental health first aid isn't to be the hero, it's to be the friend who stays. The one who answers the call. The one who sees someone and says, "You matter, even like this, especially like this." So next time your friend says they're not okay, don't change the subject, don't ghost them, don't send a meme and hope it blows over. Sit down, look them in the eye, and say the words that hold the world together. You're not a burden. I'm glad you're here. Let's figure it out together. Because honestly, that's what we all want to hear. And maybe, just maybe, if enough of us learn how to say those words, fewer people will feel like they have to suffer in silence.